General Cerros of the armies of Ashmore, the one who single-handedly saved the Queen Egg from the invasion of the Serpian siege, leaving him with injuries to his tail, plate, and eye. Born Cerros Broticus, the general has earned respect from all of Eden's kingdoms, and his name echoes throughout the land. The world of Eden is a place of vast wonder and magic. Across the land lives many races and warriors, none more fierce than the great Saurian race in the southern hemisphere, the vibrant warriors who guard the child queen and her kingdom. They are the armies of Ashmore.
Hey guys, and welcome back to another action figure review. Today we are going to be looking at a new-ish line of action figure called Defenders of Eden, Armies of Ashmore. And this is done by a company called Ideas from Mars. I believe these figures, there's 5 of them all told, maybe 6. Actually, I think there's an exclusive version, so I think there's 6 of them. Came out I believe in the beginning of 2025, but it did take me this long to finally get around to reviewing our chunky Triceratops dinosaur leader, General Cerros Broticus. Yeah, sounds kind of cool when you say it, but when you look at the name on paper, it's like they actually called him General Cerro Bro. Like, hey bro, like, okay. And Cerros, Triceratops, Cerros, yeah, that's like a bit of a no-brainer there. But hey, anyway, I'm not going to pick apart the name. He's a Triceratops dude, and he's a war leader, and he is disabled. I mean, yeah, that's I always have a soft spot for disabled character. You may be asking which part is he disabled? Well, I mean, look at him. He got his tail truncated, so his tail got lopped off during some battle. So he's got like this cap that's capping off the stump of the tail. Turning him around, uh, he's got one eye that is damaged, so he's like a cyclops, And also, the if we remove his little crown piece there, you can see that his frill or bone plate, I don't know what you call that thing on the Triceratops, is kind of chipped and damaged as well. So this is a scarred veteran dinosaur man, dinosaur war leader, which is, yeah, pretty cool. So General Cerros here stands roughly 8.5 inches tall, but there's a little bit of a caveat there because I'm assuming if you have a dinosaur dude, you wouldn't be posing him like fully upright, like a man, like this. Because to me, when you stand him straight like this, he look ridiculous. Okay, so with a dinosaur dude, you kind of probably want to squat him down and give him a wider, like wide-legged stance. Luckily, luckily, the joints actually work pretty smoothly. So yeah, so you probably want him to squat a little bit lower like this as a dinosaur guy, which means most of the time when you see him on the shelf, he's not going to be at his full height. Okay, so take that into consideration. Even though the official height is 8.5 inches, almost 9 inches, most of the time he's going to be kicking closer to 7.5 or 8 inches if you want to stand him like a dinosaur guy. For the most part, this guy is designed like a Mythic Legion ogre figure because he was handled by the Four Horsemen studio, I believe. Uh, Ideas from Mars was a maker, but it was Four Horsemen that handled production. I believe that was a relationship between the two companies. So that part is pretty cool because if you are familiar with the Mythic Legion ogre figure, then you are familiar with this guy. He feels similar. The heft is similar. The lack of articulation is similar. Although I will say, unlike a lot of those ogre figures, I have not had to warm up this guy at all. Like this guy came out of the box and most of the joints work perfectly. Well, perfectly as far as they move. But as you can see, there's not a lot of range in the elbow will barely get to 90 degree. The knee will barely get to 90 degree. The toes will not flex forward. Uh, and there's definitely no butterfly joint of any kind. Uh, the torso has barely any back and forth movement or side to side movement. Like you can feel the joints are there, but it's just not working. Uh, it's too locked in. You can twist it left, right, and center, but the twist seems to only happen at the diaphragm joint. The waist joint, again, it kind of moves, but it's not doing anything. It's really strange, like how the joints are there, but they are super, super limited. Again, very similar to Mythic Legion action figures. One bright light in this is the head has great range. You can have his head shoot forward like this, like thrust forward, or he can tilt more upright. Yeah, and then the left and right tilt is really, really good. He can look almost all the way up and quite far down. He can tuck his chin in, no problem. Most of this is because of this long neck. Uh, that give him that good mobility. I'm pulling his head off so I can show you guys. The neck is on the ball joint leading into the head, and then another ball joint leading into the body. It does go on and very easily. Of course, now that I say it go on very easily, it's going to fight me. But let's see. Can I do this on screen? Yes. There we go. Even the construction of the figures is very reminiscent to our Mythic Legion ogres. You have the big basic body that ideas from Mars reused for all five or six of their first wave of figures, with some of them changing up the armor, the chest plate, and design and the headpiece. But the basic body, though the same, this big, beefy body with three-fingered hand, three-fingered feet. The sculpting on the feet and hand are very nice. And if we look closely, we'll see that the skin actually have pebbly, like scaly texture on the skin. This part really actually impressed me because I thought they would just paint those on. I thought they would just do like a smooth human body and then paint on the scale so they can reuse the human body later. But no, they actually sculpted the body to be very specific dinosaur uh, figure with dinosaur scale textures and stuff like that. You can see that on the bicep, he has like a armband that is sculpted around the bicep. That is not removable. The forearm gauntlet and the greaves, they don't come off, sadly. But the pauldron, just like Mythic Legion stuff, they do come off. They just peg into a hole in the back. See if I can get this off without breaking it. There we go. So there's a hole back there, and then you just peg this in, just like any Mythic Legion figure, and it pops in nicely. One thing I really enjoy is there is a way on the back don't fall over, to carry the shield or the axe on the back of the chest plate. There is a clip. Now this looks a little bit different because if you just clip it in, the shield especially will fall off very easily. So what I did, if you don't want it to constantly falling off, is I add a little loop with a twisty tie because when you put the shield back there, no one's going to see the twisty tie. And the twisty tie will prevent the shield from just falling off randomly. Right? So now I can shake him. See, the shield stays put, and you don't even see the twisty tie, uh, like that. So that's a little addition I made to make that shield stay on like that. I believe if you can pull the body apart, this belt or skirt piece also can come off. But for the life of me, I couldn't pull the body apart, and I wasn't going to force it. I didn't want to break this figure because uh, it's quite expensive. Now, this figure and all the figures from this first wave cost around $80 US, depending on where you buy it from. And he is totally out of stock on the big back toy store, so finding him can be a bit tricky sometimes. That's why I really don't want to risk breaking him. Now let's look at some posing photos, and then we'll come back for to talk a little bit more about General Cerros. Standing at approximately 8.5 inches tall, General Cerros comes with his trusty axe, which can be split into two pieces. His shield, the handle of the shield can come off as well. Either the axe or the shield can be carried on the back of his chest plate. There's a clip back there for them, but unfortunately, you can't really get both of them back there unless you want to just secure the axe onto the shield itself. The chest plate is removable, just like those Mythic Legion ogres. The head and hands pop on and off very easily. That I am very glad. Speaking of hands, he comes with 3 pairs of hands, fisticuffs, weapon holding, and gesturing hands. There's also a pair of removable pauldrons that peg into the back of his body, and yes, they definitely limit his articulation a little bit. There's also a small headpiece like a diadem or a skull plate that, for the life of me, I can't get it to stay on very securely. So just in case there's any other blind, visually impaired collector watching my action figure review, I mean, are there other blind, visually impaired action figure collectors other than myself? I'm sure you guys are out there, but if you are, please uh, sound out and just leave a comment. Would be pretty cool. Anyway, just in case there are other visually impaired blind viewers out there and need a physical description for General Cerros, I really need to work on always including physical description. It's kind of funny because I usually am the first person to remind other reviewers to do it, and sometimes I forget to do it myself. So, General Cerros, this guy stands about 8.5 inches. He is chunky and relatively speaking, very humanoid in appearance, with 3 finger hand, 3 finger clawed feet, uh, big chunky thighs and arms, a kind of a barrel-shaped body, um, and he is a blue Triceratops warrior with a Triceratops head and tail. Primarily speaking, he is blue, with like a gold armor with a little bit of green here and there. So he is a pretty royal, like pretty like uh cool looking. I would say, even though I don't have a firm sense of color myself, but I would say like a blue dinosaur dude with a green, gold, blue armor sound very majestic. Now, one thing I will say, and this is totally a personal nitpick, uh, I have is the size of the head. Like I think a Triceratops, and it's Triceratops is like my favorite type of dinosaur. The most impressive part of a Triceratops is the head, and I think General Ceros here would have benefited to have a larger head to look like a real serious Triceratops warrior. His head kind of small and dainty looking. Like this is not a head that looks very threatening at all. Also, a minor nitpick is this axe of his. Now, the axe itself, the design is really cool, with a smaller blade on one side and a bigger spiky blade on the opposite side, and a long, sharp spike in the front. Like this, to me, look like a very useful weapon. Like you can chop with it, you can stab with it, you can hook with it. I imagine this guy is quite a demon in close quarter combat. There's nothing wrong with the design of the axe, and I like how the handle is like organic looking, uh, have a kind of S shape to it, almost like he just ripped a small tree out of the ground and made it into the handle of the axe. That's really cool. Where I have the problem is where the handle attached to the head of the axe. This attachment point is not keyed. It's round and it's very loose. So this axe head, when you're posing him, tends to spin on its own. And like I keep having to readjust it because it keep ending up looking crooked. Uh, and that's just really annoying. I think I might end up just like put a piece of paper around the shaft to make it tighter, or do something to make it a little bit more secure because otherwise he always end up holding it a little bit crooked and it looking awkward. Now these weapon holding hand have the diagonal hinge, which is great for weapon holding. The fisticuff hand have the horizontal hinge. So if you want him to throw big overhand hooks, he can do that too. He also comes with, as you guys saw, this little headpiece, like a skull plate or something. Now this piece is very annoying. Like personal speaking, I wish they would have just sculpted that piece in there because it doesn't want to sit very snugly. There are two like holes or grooves. I assumed they should fit around his horn, but they don't. And no matter how long I tried to heat this up, I almost melted my kitchen counter, and it just this doesn't soften up. Whatever plastic they made that headpiece out of, it's very tough. It doesn't want to soften up. So the best I can do is have it sit like that, and yeah, it kind of sits securely when you shake him around. He's fine. But if he falls over, that piece will fly off to God knows where. It happened several times already. Really quite aggravating. So again, like I wish they would have just sculpted that piece on because it's not really, to me anyway, it's so much a part of his personality to have that cover up the damage in his plate or in his frill that it should be there. Um, other than that, there's really not a heck of a lot more I can tell you about General Cerros because despite him being a pretty cool design, the articulation means that there's not a lot of creative poses you can do with him. Oh, let me show you guys. This tail, it does come off, and sometimes when you're posing him, the tail actually come off quite easily. Uh, Luckily, it pops in easily as well. It has two joints, one where it go into his body. This joint works really good. You lift his tail, put the tail down, tail can go to the side. The side to side motion could be better. And then this stumpy near the end part that can kind of move too, although the range is kind of limited. So yeah, you can get some poses out of his tail, but it's such a short, stumpy tail. There's just not much you can do with it. So overall, I would say like head and tail poses okay. The rest of him, yeah, it's just like let's just say it's very Mythic Legion-ish, and not the good new Mythic Legion either. I'm talking about Mythic Legion from 2018. Anyway, now we'll cut over to looking at some size comparison photos, and then I'll give you my final thoughts on this figure. Meanwhile, if you want more content from me, subscribe to the channel, and please like the video and share and all that good stuff. And if you would like to, please check out my blog over at johnnytigerexperience.blogspot.com. As I mentioned, General Cerros is about the size of those Mythic Legion ogre figures in the 9-inch, 8.5-inch range. Although, comparing to the ogres and those big, beefy monster figures from Z3 Studio, such as Blast the Big Teeth, he seems a little bit less bulky. He's still chunky, but he doesn't seem as roided out as they are. The benefit of a unique original property dinosaur man like General Cerros is that it's really up to you how big he should be. If you want him to just be big but not totally ridiculous, then he's fine against your Masters of the Universe and Mythic Legions. But if you want him to be really monstrously gargantuan, then pose him against your Boss Fight Studio 3 3/4 smaller figures, and he'll be really impressive. In the end, he is a great figure to have, and I'm glad to have him in my collection, although his design really doesn't wow me as much as I thought it would. Thank you for checking out today's review. We'll be back again soon. Have a good day.